To begin, I want to take you back hundreds of thousands of years ago to Southwest Asia, where my topic originated. Over the years, it's evolved, crossed oceans and continents to finally get here to North America, where it finds itself part of our fall activities. What is it? It's the apple. As a plant biology major, I come across this fruit in a lot of my classes. And as fall approaches, I know I'm not the only one that's looking forward to hot apple cider or going to the apple orchards. But when I stopped to think about it, I started to wonder what exactly goes into getting these fruits to taste the way we want them to. So today I'm going to talk about the three main steps that go into getting apples to taste the way we want. And the first is selecting the proper propagation method, and then harvesting at the optimal time, and finally proper apple storage. So first things first, propagation is a major step that goes into getting apples to taste the way we want. What is propagation? It's simply creating a new plant. So this could either be through planting seeds in the ground or even cutting off pieces of existing plants and then starting a new plant from there. So an important thing to know about apples is that their seeds will not produce the same type of apple tree as the parent. So for example, if I take the Gala apple seeds and plant them in the ground, the tree that comes up will not be a Gala apple tree. It will have apples on it that might be more bitter or more sour. They will not be Gala apples. So what do we do in order to get a Gala apple tree? We need to clone it. So one of the methods used for cloning apple trees is called air layering. What is air layering? Well, I have some pictures here that can help. So basically, air layering is when we start root growth of a new tree on an existing tree. So you see the picture here. This branch is part of an existing tree, and then we have roots growing, which are going to start the new tree. So when it's ready, we'll just cut that part of the branch off, and then we'll have a new tree there. So here, we'll just cut it there, and this will be the new tree. So air layering can be kind of complicated, so to help you better understand it, I'm going to describe the process with some helpful tips from A.J. Andrews' article on how to air layer apple trees, as well as some screenshots I took here of the video by K.A. Wynn on how to air layer. So it starts around here. And to begin the process, you want to make sure you pick a good branch that you want to start your new tree off as. And once you've done that, you need to clear the area of extra leaves. And so to begin, you're going to cut 1/4 inch thick rings around the branch. So you're going to make 2 of them, and they should be about 1.5 inches apart. And once you've done that, you're going to clear the bark off from in between them like this. And so here we have an exposed area of the branch. Right here, notice this is the xylem. The xylem is what's on the inside of the branch, and this is what transports water throughout the plant. But here exposed, we have what's called the phloem, and the phloem transports nutrients and hormones throughout the plant. And because it's exposed here now, we're going to have an accumulation of hormones and nutrients around this area, and this is what starts new root growth. And we're also going to add some rooting hormone called auxin here to ensure that we have a lot of root growth. The trees already have auxin within them, but we're going to give it even more to make sure we get lots of roots started. So once we've applied more auxin, we're going to compact it with some wet peat moss so that the roots have something to grow in. Once that's done, we're going to cover it with some plastic wrap and aluminum foil. And when this is done, we need to make sure that the ends are closed up very good so that we don't lose any moisture and so that no light can get in to disrupt this root growth. We have to allow the roots to get a good start, so we're going to leave it there for a couple of days until we get enough rooting going on, and then we can just cut the branch off, and then you'll have your new tree right here. And so here we can see a lot of rooting going on. This is really good. It's what we want to see. So once we have that, we can just go ahead and plant the tree, and then we'll have our new cloned apple tree. And so now that you can have a better understanding of what air layering is and it's easier now to understand the other techniques that are used to clone apple trees as well. So now that we have our apple tree planted, we can focus on the next step of getting apples to taste great, which is harvesting. So it's really important to make sure we have the apples mature enough so that we can pick them when they are ripe. So how do we know when they're ripe enough? Well, according to Farmer's Almanac, when we're picking apples out in the orchard, one of the signs that they're ripe is that they do not have a lot of green background left over. So I have an apple here, and it's a nice ripe apple, and you can tell that because we have some of this light green going on here, but it's not covering the entire apple, so we've got a lot of nice red there also. And then another way to tell is that when you go to pick the apple off of the tree, it just falls away really nicely into your hand. So the proper apple picking technique is to cup the apple in your hand like this, so then when you go to pick it, you just twist and lift it up, and it should fall right off the branch. Different apple varieties have different harvesting times. So if we look here at Martin's Hillside Orchard's list of the correct harvesting times for apples, we can see that right now we could be picking some red delicious apples and they would be nice and ripe. So it's important to pay attention to that when we're going out to pick some apples. And Martin's Hillside Orchard is actually about 30 minutes north of Lincoln. So should go for a visit. All right. To get technical about harvesting ripening apples, ethylene is the hormone that causes fruit to ripen. So what that does is it contributes to making sure there's not a lot of green background left on the apple. It's what makes it nice and juicy and sweet. And it's also what's responsible for having the stems break off the branches easier. So it's a good tool to use to make sure the apples are ripe. But once you have the apples harvested, it doesn't mean that you're all done set, because once you pick apples off the tree, they aren't necessarily dead. They're still alive. And this is because they continue to respire. So, you can see here, apples keep respiring, the tissues in them are still alive. So they're going to take in oxygen and give off CO2. And in order to do this, they still need energy to respire. So they get that energy from the energy that's stored in the tissues of the apple. So as the tissues get broken down, it keeps respiring, the sugar and starch content changes, and this is going to change how the apple tastes. So kind of an ugly, gross tasting apple. But this can be prevented by the third step we are going to talk about, which is proper apple storage. So according to Farmer's Almanac, apples can be stored for up to 6 months if they're stored properly in cold temperatures. And through Martin's Hillside Orchard's experience, they say that a proper apple storing technique would be to keep apples in the refrigerator in a plastic bag and to place a damp paper towel inside the bag as well. And this will prevent the apples from drying out. So it's really quite simple. To wrap things up, the 3 main steps to getting apples to taste the way we want is selecting a clonal propagation method, picking apples at the optimal time so that they practically fall off the tree into your hand, and finally is the proper storage of apples so we can enjoy their sweet taste for longer. So now you know about the secrets of getting apples to taste sweet and awesome. You can go out, plant an apple tree, visit your local orchard, and enjoy that sweet, tart taste of fall. Thanks for listening.